Yo, what's up everybody? It's your boy Mood616 here, and thank you once again guys for stopping in for another Top 10 Tuesdays. This is episode number 30. Wow, episode 30 already. It's crazy. For this episode, we are going to be talking about top 10 slasher films from a franchise. So how I compiled this list is that I basically took 10 different slasher franchises and I picked my favorite film from each one of those franchises. So, and the reason why I did that is because I was making this list and it could have just ultimately been mostly Friday the 13th and like Nightmare on Elm Street films. And I didn't want to like keep duplicating the same franchise. So I just picked 10 different ones and picked my favorite film from each one just to make it a lot easier. So yeah, a couple of these, these franchises are kind of debatable if they're slasher films or not. And also my prerequisite for a slasher franchise is 4 or more films. There's a lot of trilogies out there like Hatchet and so on and so on, but I don't consider Hatchet to be a franchise. It's just a trilogy of films right now. To make a 4th one, it'll be a franchise. That's just the way I did this list. So if you disagree, that's cool, but that's okay. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into this. Number 10 is Leprechaun 2. I've always stated this is my favorite one from this franchise. I've even heard people say that they don't really think the Leprechaun films are slasher films, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know. It's debatable, I guess. Whatever. I've always considered it to be, slasher related. So, but yeah, this one, I always love this one. It's got some really fun kills, stupid one-liners, but I don't know. This one has always been the stick-out one for me in the franchise. So, yeah, big fan of this one right here. Yeah, cool stuff. Leprechaun 2. Fun film. Next up here is one that's definitely debatable, and that is Final Destination 2. Now, my explanation for Final Destination as being a slasher film is as simple. Its death is, taking out people one by one in very kind of, not necessarily slasher ways, but people are getting picked off one by one like in a slasher film, so this is definitely debatable. I've seen Final Destination on slasher franchise lists for years and years. I always kind of questioned it until I really thought about it, and I was like, you know what? It's kind of the same premise. People are getting hunted down, picked off one by one, so why not? But this is my favorite film in the franchise, Final Destination 2. I love the, just the car, or the whole highway crash in this. It's just fucking brutal, man. I remember watching this at the cinema and just being like, damn. It's pretty crazy, but I don't know, this one's always kind of stuck out to me as being my favorite one. Really enjoy part 5 too, actually. The twist in that one is really cool. Well done. But yeah, Final franchise, leave your comments down below if you think of it as a slasher franchise or not. I can see why people don't 100%. I agree with it too, but for this video, it's a slasher franchise. That was number 9. Number 8 is Joe Lynch's Wrong Turn 2. Always been my favorite one in the Wrong Turn franchise. I never really cared for the first film, to be honest. It took me a long time to even check this one out, and I really enjoyed it. And I was really stoked for part 3. I remember when it came out on straight to DVD or whatever, and oh man, that was such a disappointment. That film sucked so bad. But this one right here, man, I love this movie, man. I think this is great. Joe Lynch did a great job with the sequel. Very kind of memorable kills, and it's very similar to like all the other ones. This one's just done well, But Wrong Turn 2, yeah, definitely my favorite one from that franchise. And that is number 8. And at number 7 is Child's Play 2. I just realized I have 4 part 2s to start off this list. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, my favorite one in the franchise. I do prefer this over the first one. I think it's more because it's more kind of like a slasher film, I guess. It's just Chucky, and he's trying to get the fuck out of that body. There's no real build up to it, with the the whole character stuff, and I don't know, there's just something about this movie. I just really like the pace of it. I just like how it goes down, but always been my favorite one. Nothing against the first Child's Play. I love that movie too, but I don't know, there's something about this one. It's just fantastic to me. Child's Play 2, great stuff. One of the most memorable endings too. and that was number 7. Number 6 is the original Scream. I just grabbed this because it was just easier. I have some of these other ones on Blu-ray too. I just grabbed them individually so you could see the covers, but yeah, of course, the original Scream, you know, I was a big fan of it, man. I remember when it came out, in 96, I went to the cinema and saw it, and I didn't really even know a whole lot about it, to be honest. I remember I probably briefly watched the trailer. You know, there was a little bit of hype about it, and I went and seen it, and, you know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really cool premise, so, you know, for the people out there that saw it in the cinema, too, and didn't really have high expectations for it, you know, and came out loving it, you kind of understand why it's got a special place in your heart now. I don't know. You know, say what you will about the franchise. It is what it is. It's kind of a love-hate relationship with horror fans, but yeah, I like Scream. I think it's actually pretty fun. I'm not a huge fan of the franchise, to be honest. I don't really care for part 2 and 3, to be honest. Like, part 2 is okay. I didn't really care for 3 at all. And I do like 4, though. But yeah, but Scream, good stuff. Number 6. Number 5. Probably thinking this should be a little higher, but you know, it is what it is, and that is Psycho. And Psycho is actually one of my favorite franchises overall. I love all 4 films with a passion. Psycho 2 is just one of my favorite sequels ever. But you know, the original Psycho is just a bona fide classic, one of the most important, you know, films in you know, cinema, not just in horror history, but I mean, I can't really say anything about the film that hasn't been said before, but I just love this movie. You know, the score alone is just the most, you know, memorable thing. You know, not the most memorable thing about the film, but it just, you know, it gets inside your head and you can never forget it. But Psycho is brilliant. You know, a lot of people don't consider it to be a slasher film or slasher franchise. Another debatable one, I guess, but you know, say what you will, it is what it is. It is for this video, I guess, but I've always kind of considered them to be slasher films. You know, Norman Bates, he's stalking a little bit, so. But yeah, Psycho, number 5. Number 4 is, of course, the final chapter, which is the 4th one. I did not do that purposely. From the Friday the 13th, my favorite one of the franchise. You know, like, there's so many, I got so many favorites in this franchise, though. I love part 6, I love part 2 and 3. 2, 3, 4, and 6 are my favorite ones, but this one right here is the topper for me. I've always loved this film. I think it's just fantastic. You know, another one I have on Blu-ray too, but I just wanted to show the cover. But you know, what can I say? Corey Feldman. This is such a great movie. Everyone knows about this one. Awesome stuff. Number 4. Number 3 is, of course, again, another debatable, you know, slasher franchise. You know, and that's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of course, TCM. You know, I can totally, I understand people's arguments. You know, it's, you know, kind of a backwoods hillbilly film or cannibal flick or slasher. You know, there's arguments for everything, and I think they're all valid, you know. I think this one kind of lumps itself into a lot of different categories, which is fine, but, you know, for this video, of course, I'm putting it as a slasher. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like my homie says, Doubleshotj always says, it's like the perfect example of what a horror film should be. And you know, this movie still terrifies me. It's it's just the sound effects in this film. You know, a lot of chainsaw sounds, but just the screaming and like, oh, it's gritty, man. This is a gritty fucking movie. You know, what can I say about TCM? I mean, everybody knows about this movie, but you know, it's just brilliant. It's just an example of you know, terrifying horror. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw 3. Texas Chainsaw Massacre in at number 3. In at number 2 is Halloween. Yeah, this is my favorite one in the Halloween franchise, of course. I'm a really big fan of part 2, and I also really love part 4. I'm actually not the hugest Halloween fan in the franchise. I like the first 4 films. Halloween 3 being, I love Halloween 3. And that's, you know, kind of really it for me, you know, with the original franchise. Like, I don't really care for H2O all that much. I know people are screaming at me, but you know, 5 and 6 and Resurrection are just, you know, Resurrection is just a big pile of shit, but you know, this kind of divided. It's hit and miss for me. I like half the franchise, I guess, but original Halloween, it's brilliant. You know, it's just amazing. John Carpenter's score is awesome. Cinematography, I've talked about this film to death, you know, but yeah, it's awesome stuff. Halloween, number 2. And of course, my favorite slasher is, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors. And again, you know, the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise is another one that people kind of, debate on is it a slasher franchise or not. Yeah, I think it is. It's supernatural. It falls into supernatural, slasher category or whatever. It's not your typical type stalk and slash type deal because the storyline's a lot different, but it can be lumped in there, but it is what it is. It's a slasher film for this video. These old snapper cases from the DVD box set. So it was actually the very first box set I ever bought when it first came out. I think in 1999 or something is when this box set came out in. Crazy stuff. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted to show the cover. My favorite one, love this image. I always love that poster. I actually really got to get one of those someday. But this film right here is so many memories. I actually watched this again the other night. Oh, I just love it, man. I just love the whole premise of how everyone has their own type powers and their dreams, and it's fantastic stuff. But yeah, anyways, blabbling on here. Let's do a recap. Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors, number 1. Number 2, of course, the original Halloween. Number 3, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 4, the final chapter, Friday the 13th. Yeah. Number 5, Psycho. Number 6, the original Scream. Number 7, Child's Play 2. Number 8, Joe Lynch's Wrong Turn 2. Big ups to Holliston. Number 9, Final Destination 2. And of course, number 10, Leprechaun 2. Yeah. And yeah, I know I had an argument with my buddy just the other day actually about the Saw franchise being a slasher franchise. And I really don't consider them to be slasher films at all for some weird reason. I never really did. So if that's, that's the reason why I didn't have any Saw films in here if you're a fan of the franchise. But, it is what it is. But anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave comments down below. One of these days I'll get back to the comments. I'm just so busy. I'm recording this really late at night. It's just no more excuse. I'll try to get some more videos up, guys. But anyways, make sure to check out everyone else. Leave the links down below. And yo, peace out.